Hey folks, welcome to Verified Investing here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. And just a reminder, folks, before we get into the action of this video, you can follow me on Twitter at Gareth Soloway. And then also, if you want to find my services, go to InTheMoneyStocks.com. Under my name, you'll see Verified Investing Alerts, which is swing trading stocks. And if you want options, there's Verified Option Alerts, which is swing trading options. All right, so those are the two services that I run here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. Looking at the charts here, take a look at Tilray. This is a chart I've talked about and a sector that I've highlighted for the last few weeks. It's an easy trade here in what I consider to be an overall tricky market. The market, again, for marijuana stocks based out here just about 4 to 6 weeks prior to the election. And then I started to talk about it. I did a Yahoo Finance interview then, and I talked about how the marijuana stocks were heavily weighted by institutions, and the institutions, with even the chance of a Democratic sweep, they have to put more exposure into these names because there's massive upside potential if marijuana gets legalized, which will happen if the Democrats sweep in this coming election, which is just over 2 weeks away. So you have a lot of institutional money coming in. Eventually, you're going to have a lot of retail money flowing in. You could see that when I was talking about them, this is where we were trading. We had the initial run-up, then a bull flag formation, and then a secondary move starting. This move has legs this week alone to this target, which is around $8. Going into the election, I think you could be as high as $10. And then if you do get a Democratic sweep, you could at least see $12. There's even a chance that over the next, I think even over the next multiple months, if you get a Democratic sweep, you have a target of $15 on Tilray. So we're talking about over 100% potential upside if you get a Democratic sweep here on Tilray, which from my alert is already up beautifully. We've already played this name on this run as a swing trade in Verified Investing Alerts for a 20% move, and we rebought right here, and now we're up about 15% on this new trade in Tilray. So this is what swing trading is all about. We captured 20% here. Now we're going to capture hopefully at least 20% again. Then we'll look for a pullback and buy it again. We can continue to buy these names and play them into the election and make lots of money. All right, so again, those are your targets on Tilray. If we look at Canopy Growth, you could see the same thing. Look at the run-up, with the initial run-up. I had call options on this. We took over 50% on the call options. Then you had a pullback here, and now it's starting to break out. First target this week is right here. Second target into the election is here. And then ultimately, I think you could be looking, if I zoom out enough, I think there's a gap fill up here at around 3170 that could be over the next few months a target, which again puts you at almost 100% upside on this name. Aurora Cannabis has been brutally beaten here, folks. Look at how oversold this is, getting a great 12 to 13% bounce today. Short term before the elections, I think it goes at least back to here. If the elections go a certain way, at least back to close to the $10 level. So you're talking about at least 100% upside on this name. All right, now I want to do a little bit of analysis on the S&P. Let's talk about the S&P. The S&P sold off net for last week. It was down. It was off of its lows, though, with that Thursday reversal. You can see it on the daily chart right here. Today, it's selling off again. Not a big sell-off, though. The volume, look at the volume today, 22.7 million. I'm actually impressed that the markets are even down on this volume. It is so light. I'm actually impressed that the markets are down. Usually, unlike volume, you'd be neutral to higher on the day. The Qs are only down 60 cents, so the Qs are actually performing slightly better than the S&P here on the day. But either way, both the down days for those two indices. The only thing you care about this week on the S&P is this trend line right here. It was the low on Thursday right here, and you can see it was high pivot, and high pivot before we broke above it. This line is your line in the sand. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that if the markets break below that on a daily closing basis, you could see significant downside. As long as that holds, the markets do have a support line there that they can trade against, or you can trade against. All right, but if you break that line, this market, in my opinion, goes all the way down here and then potentially retest these lows. So watch that closely. We have a lot going on this week. You have earnings announcements from Netflix and Tesla, just to name two big names this week. You have more information on the elections, on COVID cases, which continue to elevate. So there's a lot going on here that investors need to watch. Economic news, obviously, which is the norm for every week. We'll be watching that as well. but that's the line in the sand. So watch that level on the SPY. And again, just to reiterate what that level is, it's approximately 342.50, 342.50. So it's about just under $4 lower than where we currently are on the SPY. If that gets broken, watch out below. Okay? The only other thing I'd like to mention here, folks, is to make sure you're aware of the craziness of stocks like Zoom. Zoom is up another almost $30 today. Insane in terms of the upside here. I do have an upsloping trend line here that I'm watching very, very closely, so keep an eye on that. But I mean, this is remarkable upside continuing. Zoom is now trading at 50 times revenue. 50 times revenue. Usually we look at a stock trading 50 times earnings and say, oh, it's ridiculously overdone. 50 times revenue, folks. So at some point, this collapses back down. The question is, how high does it go first? There's a lot of money chasing this. Peloton's up again today. That had a down day on Friday, but back up a little bit today, about $2.50 higher. But either way, any way you cut it, to me, these are no touches and really shorts. I am short a little bit of Zoom. I'm short some Peloton. I do think that these stocks have significant downside coming because basically, as soon as a vaccine is announced, you're going to see a mass exodus by institutions if they haven't already exited. It's just the nature of the beast. So expect that. Investors are willing to pay 50 times revenue. God bless them. If you're willing to pay that, I mean, maybe it goes to 600, maybe it goes to 650. I don't know, but I just know that the chart is extended. The fundamentals are ridiculous. This is, to me, a signal to be very, very cautious on a name like this, or be short it if you have the patience to weather the storm. All right, so again, just be aware of the craziness that we're seeing in these type of stocks, whether it's Peloton or Zoom, or, I mean, there's plenty of other names out there that are COVID-related names. All right, on that note, I'm going to bid you farewell. I hope to see you at inthemoneystocks.com. Come find me, come find my service. Again, we are beautiful in position on Tilray, making great money there. It's great to see we're in MJ. We're up about 12% in MJ, which is the marijuana ETF. Same type of chart pattern there. Look at that, move up and then retrace, and then that's a bullish pattern. So these are working out beautifully for us. And again, if you want these alerts, you want my exact entry prices, my stops, my targets, all that information, come to inthemoneystocks.com and join my services. All right, take care.